Davy Lorino.
Musical?
It is musical.
Back in the engine room.
Yeah. Shitty mood, so see if we can cheer ourselves up with this video, shall we? So this is either going to be a car crash. It is going to rival Carl for levels of realism. Or I'm going to lose my head and go off on a Wally.
A bit moment. Like the Golf engine
There was nothing wrong with that video. That was like Scorsese's best work, mate, that. Telling you.
Have you seen this new Ferrari film coming out, directed by Michael Mann, who did Heat?
Who did Heat? I did see that. Who's playing Ferrari? Cardinal Sin. Right, let's get through that. Get through the intro. I'll answer this and we'll catch you up to do some work.
But he doesn't know the Bee Gees are.
How deep is your love?
He's not heard
not
the Bee
that
Gees.
much younger than me, so.
Yeah, you said what song is How Deep Is Your Love?
How deep is your love?
And I said Calvin Harris.
Yeah. Well, he is right. It
Yeah.
was done by Calvin Harris.
Right and wrong, all at the same time.
Oh, oi oi.
Here we go then.
Yeah. No. What is occurring
What's occurring?
is piston rings are done. We did one ring in a video, I think, didn't we, where we showed the file, so there's no point doing times 10.
Indeed.
So ring gaps all done, assembled on the pistons, which we have spoken about in the last video.
Somewhere.
Yep. So, yeah, major thrust, pin goes through the middle, like that. And we were talking about how we locate the rings.
Indeed.
So I do one like that. So say top ring like that. Second ring like that. Yeah. The main oil control ring. So the center, the wavy one that does that.
Yep.
I do like that. And then one guide rail which runs along the top. I do like that. And then the other guide rail which runs along the bottom. Drawing a backward circle is weird. I do like that. So I never have anything on major thrust. Some people are going to tell me that's wrong. Some people are going to tell me they don't care.
I'm going to say I don't care.
Yeah. So that's what big engines.
Here we
Because
go.
that we did do that because we got into the conversation of do piston rings rotate.
Yeah.
But that's how I build every engine. So ain't gone biggity bang yet, boy.
Biggity bang.
Biggity bang. I don't even know what that means. It's a funny word.
So what are we actually looking at today then, sir?
Let us put a cranking shaft in an engine and torque the rod bolts up, put a lower girdle on,
Yeah.
because that's all we've got to do on this one. Put a lower girdle on and torque that up.
Yeah.
So when I assemble the block, I pack the ring grooves with oil, which is why there's puddles of oil, because it just runs out the bottom. So I pack the ring grooves with oil, but then of course you get oil running down, so you get oil sat in your bearing coils.
Yeah.
It drives me wild when I see people lubricate this face. Do not do that. Do not do this. This should be perfectly clean and smooth. And the back of your bearing should be perfectly clean and smooth. Now, Volkswagen Audi Group have a knack of delivering bearings not in plastic and in cardboard boxes. I wonder if I've got one. And they turn up rusty on the back.
That is not a good start. Oh, look at that.
That'll give you tight clearance, right? Yes, you can clean it up,
Yep.
but you shouldn't have to. So that is normally how I would expect a bearing to be delivered. And from Audi Volkswagen Group, they turn up. That's a seal. Oh, there you go. might be a bolt actually. No. They turn up like that.
No extra wrapping.
Nope. The best bit is when they've been chucked in a box like that, and they mark the core, mark the coating. So at least they did put them back to back. The problem is with cardboard, absorbs moisture.
Yeah.
And then the bearing sits against the cardboard and does that.
Not good.
Nope. Absolute horseshit. So the back of the bearing, you want spotless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely and smooth. Right? In our cleanup phase, while we're cleaning this, we take a needle file and we just knock the corner off. Now I don't mean knock it off like at an angle, but if you have ever sharpened a kitchen knife and you've sharpened it in one direction, the other side you get a burr on, a burr. So we just file the burr off in both directions, so you can do that and it doesn't scag on your finger. And literally just take a.
You don't want scag on your finger.
No, I mean it's not a file, but you just like that, and in both directions all the way along. We use a needle file, and we normally do it in a wash tank.
Yeah.
So obviously because it's straight away, then you get any debris out. There are on the Lamborghinis. You've got a gallery plug here. You've got a gallery plug here, which is a grub screw. One here, which is a grub screw, and then you've got a T30 in the back of the block as well. I've seen engine builds where these and these have been left out and you get no oil pressure. If you leave that one out, you might just get away with it.
Yeah.
If you leave that one out, that's full strip, because the lower crank girdle goes on there and blocks that out. So you have to make sure you get them back in place, right? And then
Get your big wanger out.
get your big wang out. So you can go all the way down oil galleries, blow everything out. And a slurp of cold tea. Because what happens if you don't take the burr off, when you push the bearing in, like so, yeah, you shave the back of the bearing and it sits here and it jacks up. So you do that so they go in lovely and smooth. And then you just sit each bearing in. Alright. You can tell when they're sort of smooth in because you can like rock them back and forth.
And should they just fit in without too much resistance?
Yeah. If you're trying to push it in like this, rod bearings are normally worse. But if you're trying to push it in like this and it feels like it's scagging, that's when you'll normally back the material up. Like you can see, I've already started to wipe it gently there.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm pushing it in, I'm putting ever so slight pressure on the bearing that way to not let it scrape down. But if you don't take that burr off, you'll scrape the back of the bearing and then you literally will end up with like a silver, like a dirty fingernail.
Yeah.
You'll end up with it sat behind the bearing there. It's a good way of explaining it, though.
So the plan will be get this back in fairly soon then.
This, yeah. Get this finally assembled, and then it can get out of the engine room so I can get the 720 finished. And then when the 720 is finished, the Murcielago's got to be done. And when the Murcielago's done, I've got 2 V10s to do. And then when the V10s are due, I've got 570 to do. So, you know, hey, what more do you want in life? You
didn't want any time off over Christmas, did you?
No. Someone will say this is karma for going to Spain.
I can't imagine who that might be.
No. It's a good job she's pretty. I think she likes the peace and quiet when I'm gone. Except when our 6-year-old kicks off.
Yes.
So again, just where the oils come down, just make sure, because you obviously want to glue the crankcases together. Yeah. Everything's cleaned. We know everything sort of doesn't have gasket on it anyway.
Yeah.
But if you were servicing an old block, you want to make sure you get nothing sort of sat around the dowels. The dowels aren't marked. All the threads are clean. Yeah. And I mean, bearing in mind that's a clean block, and you'll still get little bits off. Yeah. Oh, we use brake cleaner. Make sure you sit all your gaskets in, because that's not a good day when you've bolted everything down, and you turn around and there's a gasket sat on a bench. Make sure, again, if you're resurfacing an old block, make sure the grooves are spotless, so this gasket's not sat up or the seal's not sat up. Right. So now we've got, main oil feed, water, drain backs. We've got our 2 grub screws in. I don't know. I'll double check with a light, but I don't know if you can see them. You see just down in there?
Yeah.
There's another one here. Make sure they're in.
Let's come on that way. Oops.
Upside down camera. And then your T30s you can get on, but just everything in stages. So squirters are in, new bolts. So squirters are set in down the bottom, new bolts, and done. That is it. So the next stage is what we've done again. The good thing about the rods is they're all normally already done. And we've got a tang, so just make sure back of your rod is clean, your rod bearing's clean. Locate your tang, like so. Just push them in. If you try to do this before you put the crank in, I don't do it before I put the rod in the piston because it puts risk to the bearing, and I don't do it once I've got the crank in because you can never see whether you're square.
Yeah.
Right, like so. The other thing to bear in mind as well is, I don't know whether you can quite see it, Dav. Can you see, look at the difference, let me get a screwdriver and point here. Can you see the difference between the end of that rod
Yep.
and the end of that rod?
Yes.
See this is radiused almost? Right, that's to sit up against the radius of the crank. So if you put the rods in backwards, obviously the crank, this is where you've got to pay attention, because when you look at the rod on a bench, it don't look the same. So obviously we'll just do a common pin. Yeah. So crankshaft journal kind of looks like that. Right? Well, you'll have 2 because we're now on a single rod journal. Both ends of the rod, when you look at the cap, so you say it would go. Let me draw it so my head is right. I want to do that view, don't I? You'd have to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, because what you don't want is a square edge trying to go in that radius for the crank. Yeah, because we're running 2 rods on 1 pin, they do that. When you look at them subtly, let me just exaggerate that slightly. They do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 1 rod to 1 piston, 1 rod to another piston. Yeah, so if you get them rods in back to front and you put the square edge in and then the radius in towards the middle, you run the risk of pushing that squared edge in that area there.
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful of that. Obviously not a problem if you buy rods to do like an inline 4 or anything like that, because they should have the correct machining. But when you start playing with V10s or V8s or anything where you start running 2 rods on 1 journal, you have to pay attention to that.
I was watching the review of that new Cybertruck yesterday.
Yes.
The Top Gear have got it. Carwow have done a drag race with it already, and a few other people have been on the launch.
Why weren't we invited to the launch?
I don't know, mate. I think we were busy.
Is it because we slag off electric cars?
It's nothing to do with that. But it turns out it's only the top one that's got all the power, the 800 plus brake horsepower. It's got 3 motors, 2 on the back, 1 on the front. But the top speed of this one they were testing was limited to 106.
Nice.
So of course they got to 106 and it just went. Mm. But I think even the top one, when it's launched, will have a top speed of 130. So it gets you there super quick, and it weighs.
But no further.
3,000 kilograms
Nice.
plus.
3 ton milk float
Yeah.
with no milk, just a Porsche on the back of it. Right, so we've got all the bearings in.
There you go.
So we shall do the same here. How much is this Cybertruck going to be then, Davla? $1 million!
I think it said about $96,000
Stupid.
for the top one.
Stupid. So these two, get them out of the way because they're spares. These two, we can, when the crank's in, we can slide into position.
Yeah.
So they live like a so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the upper sort of sits over the top like this. But the upper's got a locator on it, so you can't slide that in. So what we do here is it lives on number 5 journal. Yeah, let me put it there. Can you see it better?
Yeah.
So it lives there.
Okay.
So what we do is glue it in place with some assembly grease. So that when you lift it in, it stays.
You don't fall out.
You don't fall out. Ah. Yeah, don't use like lithium or, you know, definitely not like copper slip. Use a proper assembly grease or assembly lube. So we use this on cam lobes
Yeah.
a lot. But it's bloody good on these bearings.
Perfect.
Clean my grease applier. Now we know we've got the gaskets or the seals in place. And then we have to. Where's my Sharpie gone? First, got to find a bloody pen. What you just got to be careful of is obviously where we've dry built it, we've lubricated all the bolts and the caps up. So what you just don't want to do is start spreading around all the grease.
Yeah.
So just to be sure, B113 is number 10. And B121 is number 1. So there we go. So we are 1 to 10. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Never take it for granted, because you never know who's been in here and knocked everything over.
Yeah.
So again, just start again, clean rag. Always hold the end of the caps because they'll be clean. So we'll have grease on the ends, grease in the middle. Hold your cap, make sure you've got nothing on the edge. Take a bearing, make sure your bearing's clean, fingers are clean. And sit them in place. And then just spot each side, make sure bearing's not hanging out. You have a wee baby child! Have a shaft.
Look at the baby.
Bloody marvellous. Clean as a whistle. Need your help in a minute anyway, lifting it in, so let me just lube up these, get these bearings in these, and then lube the caps up and then we sit it in. It is a really interesting sort of process when you do just one thing once. But when you've got to do everything 10 times,
Yeah.
well, you done Mercy heads, didn't you? How fun was that?
Yeah, they seem to go on forever.
Yeah.
Nearly there. Everything's bloody covered in molly grease, that's the problem, so you just got to be very careful.
Yeah.
See. Harmless, you just want to try and keep it off
Yeah.
as much stuff as you can. But you ultimately need it for putting the bolts in. See? Just end up with bloody...
It's a balancing act.
It is. It is.
So is it, what's been done with the crank on this? Cleaned thoroughly?
Just literally cleaned and measured.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't need anything more than that really. 113, 117. So I take a mirror. Pen. One three. 7. You can write down everything you want. 106. Be still double check.
Yeah.
122. Because assumption is the mother of all.
Yes. I think he was a dentist in a former life, possibly. He's very handy with the little mirror.
I am used to saying, say ah. I'm going to be in trouble with that one. 121, 120, 105, 118, 115, 123, 119, 122, 106, 9, 10. Sweet! The process works.
Nice.
All my Sharpies out there. Grab a Sharpie with me. I'll lube these bearings and then we can. Yeah, I've looked on here and I can't see it. Cinnamon goo.
Hey, perfect for this time of year.
I know. Christmas build lube, mate. That's why I got it out. We like the Christmas build lube, don't we?
Yeah, it smells nice.
So again, where we know the clearances are all like the assembly part is all done, clearances are measured out, everything's detailed. So we've got the right bearing. So now it's just a case of there's no point struggling and trying to lube the bearing up thoroughly when a crank is in, because it is a pain in the ass. But we'll literally lube this up now. Drop the crank in, and then we can start dropping caps on.
Nice.
So you want really sticky build lube. If you've got build lube that just runs off,
I imagine you get the right mess.
why it just doesn't stick to anything.
Yeah.
It just runs off like oil will be no good. Oil ends up on your bloody floor. So at least with this stuff, it's got you know, you haven't got a sort of
it's tacky in there.
yeah. Whereas, like I said, oil. If you put your finger down a bore now, where I soak those bores in oil, and you put your finger on it, they'd almost feel dry. And then, because it dribbles on your floor. Right, laddie. This is the juggle.
Yeah, with lots of hands.
Roddings. So it's going to be the front cylinders. Yeah. Now the reason I don't normally, what you would do is, on some engines, you would put the crank in put the lower girdle on, and then put each rod in at a time. There's two reasons I don't like doing that. One, you can clip. I don't like clipping a rod. I don't like that I might hit a rod on a journal. The other side of it is you can never get the stretch gauge in, so I do it this way. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like that. You can do the back 4.
What's that? Okay. But
You can get that one. I think I'm hitting the back. I think I'm hitting the back rod my side.
this one.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm definitely hitting the front rod, front right. Leave. They should hook on. I'm like snagging on the webbing.
This one.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You go back up a touch.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now the bit that always scares the shit out of me on the first one is what my rod whip's like. Always a bloody piston squares. Give that bottom one a shove, mate. Should we just push it gently? That's it. You're going to hit the piston squirter anyway, so. 2.6, mate. There you go. Can you go? Yeah. All right. Job's done. Let's go home.
Nice.
Right. Cool. Sweet. Well, it's in.
It's in.
It's in. We just need to start sitting rods on now. So if you look down this, we've got bearing lubed. We've got clearance on the piston squirter. We know we're cap 119. And we can literally set our cap on. Yeah, so if can you see the piston squirter down there? So we're good on the underside of the piston. We've got a rod in. Cap on the rod. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to seat the rod. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to allow us to get all 10 in and seated. So which is just a nip on a ratchet, really. Because you can pull them onto that with your fingers. Just so we're consistent, I'll just seat them at 20.
Yeah.
Last two.
Getting there.
Just patience this bit. This is the bit where you can cock it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So just staying quiet so I don't distract you.
that's all 10 rods on, all torqued up to 20 Newton meters, and all squirter jets checked. So what I'm going to do now is we'll do one because there's no point showing you them all. Back off 2 rod bolts. Stretch gauge, an offset spanner, and we have a stretch gauge. So how this works is, we'll show you here because it'll be easier.
Mm-hmm.
So the bolt as a measurement. Like so.
Yep.
And then as you tighten the bolt, it will stretch because you're turning the head, which is fixed against the cap, but the threads will pull down into the rod.
Yep.
So you'll get a stretch. So these are 6 thou stretch. I will double check because I've got the code, but from my experience, they're always between 6 to 7 thou stretch. So what we'll do is we'll put a load more lube under the heads. Yeah. I've got a 0. I will literally put boot lube under the head, screw it back down. So we'll have a max permissible torque as well. So it will say stretch to 6 thou, but not exceeding, for example, I don't know, 70 Newton meters, something along those lines. So let me just get we have got an SM8. So we're an M8x1 Carrillo bolt SM8. Recommended stretch is basically 4.5 thou to 6 thou, not exceeding 43 Newton meters. So we will see how that goes. So what I would normally do here is set my torque wrench to 43. Right, this becomes fiddly as a bugger. So we know I'm in 0. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna, even without putting massive force in it, you can see the needle's already starting to move. Like.
Yep.
I haven't even measured a torque on my wrench yet. Right, that's 7 Newton meters. So 1 thou of stretch is 9 Newton meters. 16. So I think we're just about to get to 5. There you go. 4.5 thou stretch. Bang on the money.
Nice.
We'll do the other side. This way is bloody fiddlier because it's obviously we're going downhill now, so I've got less room for everything.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it's in my old Dav. There you go. Right, so we come back to 0. And then we shall tug away. Make sure you don't pinch anything. So we've done almost 1,000 at 8 Newton meters, so that normally gives you a good idea that you're in the same sort of place. Ever so slightly over 4.5 thou at 43 Newton meters.
Happy days.
And that is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
You're in a little bit of Montel Jordan then.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
9 to go.
Nice. Well, we'll skip over those.
Should we skip that?
Unfortunately, you can't skip that.
No, shall I do that? Actually get on with the job.
Yes.
Davy La!
Right. That was intense. Off camera.
That is
Concentration.
all 20 rods in. Radial, yeah, all 20 rods in, bolts stretched, bearings lubricated, all measured up, sorted. All actual measurements taken, checked. All squirter jets checked, make sure they don't clash, because obviously they're aftermarket pistons and they all bloody clash. So you got to do that. Last 2 jobs is to
Come on, nearly there.
insight. Make sure you get them the right way. Yeah. Carl's come in with head.
I'm not saying anything this time.
That is one in. Alright. One bearing in.
Mm-hmm.
Pull le crankers towards you. Like so. I don't like, some people use a hammer, I don't like that scares me.
Yeah. It made a satisfying thunk with just
A thunk.
arm power.
Arm power. And make sure you put this one in right. Grooves towards the jar. That in like so. Ewy. So I try not to turn the crank now I've got the bearings, now I've got the thrust washers in, because
Okay.
it always bloody leak.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'm going to lube the bearings up in the top anyway, but I just like to put a little bit extra to let it run down, because obviously we've turned it over a couple of times.
Bit of your Crimbo lube.
A little bit more down, so like between the thrust faces of the rods.
Yeah.
So bloody sticky. Give you arm punch trying to get out a bloody bottle. Can never have too much.
Yeah.
If you've got good quality build lube, it will just sit on the bearing. If you've got shit stuff, it will just run off.
So what was this?
It's Maxima.
Maxima.
Use Torco. Lots of people message me and ask what's what. If Motul made a build lube, I'd use it, but they don't make one. I've asked them to make one, and they don't want it. So, right, the thinking part. This is the thinking part. If in doubt, always go around the outside of the bolt, okay?
Yeah.
So we know the timing cover comes down here. So always go like that. Yeah. And then I would literally go like so.
Mm-hmm.
And a V to start with. Do you see?
Hold it there. Let's have a look. Yep, there we go.
And then just if you're not sure, just test it on your bench.
It's like ice in a cake.
Here's a match. No going back now. 20 rod bolts done that. I know I've checked them, but I just want to double check. Broke my rule, didn't I? Yep. 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 I don't know whether you could see that then, but the thrust bearings were wandering back and forth as I was doing that. That's why I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
You only got to forget and you screwed up. Build lube, clean, bearings on, thrust washers in, all of them tight, squirters are done. Right. 1, 2 dowels here, should be a dowel at the back. There is. El Sendio. See how much more difficult it would have been trying to get stretch gauge on those.
Yeah.
Rod bolts. Is why we sort of struggle with a crank getting it in. So then we do it that way. Bigger. 14s. 14s. quickly bang them down to 20 so they're even.
Yeah.
And then we can turn it over and see how it feels. Now in theory, if you follow the parting line of the crankshaft wrap down, should be a lovely, even black line of sealant.
Yeah.
And then we pop this T30 in here to support that. Right, this is either going to turn over and feel lovely, or it'll feel rough as arseholes. What does rough as arseholes mean?
Don't know what rough an asshole is.
Right. You should turn over. Fully built, less than 20. $14 Newton meters breakaway torque. Come and have a look at that. So that's a completely built bottom end. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it starts moving at 15 Newton meters. Look.
Yeah.
That is how good I am, Dav.
I can tell you're very happy with that.
Yeah, man.
That was worth the.
Worth every penny. 15, 14, 13. It'll fall away as it comes out of dwell.
Yeah.
As it goes into dwell. 14, 14, 14, 14. Sweet. The majority of that is all. If you did that with no pistons in,
Yeah.
it wouldn't even measure.
Right.
So that's all ring to cylinder wall ring to cylinder wall friction,
Brilliant.
and you can hear it. Can you? It's not a scraping noise. It's like a brushing noise.
It's a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And relax.
Tea time.
Ugh.
So, I talked the bottom end up now. I don't think we got sent the other casing box, did we?
I'm 99% sure we don't have them.
Right. So all these are Allen key bolts,
Yeah.
right, which support the outer side of the casing, but it won't do any harm because we've got these big bloody bolts holding it on.
Yeah.
So I think the customer's going to have to deal with that when he gets it back. For those wondering what I'm doing, I've got a steel bolt and an aluminium head, and you can already see where it's started to gall it up,
Yeah.
and that can interfere with the torque.
Okay.
So you don't lube the threads because you shouldn't. In this application, some applications you do, that tells you to oil the threads, but what I don't like is the thought of the head being the reason that my torque wrench goes off.
Mm-hmm.
So I always
Add some of this.
yeah, because at the end of the day, it's if I put two pieces of emery cloth under that
Yeah.
facing each other and try to torque it up, it would torque. But the point, so if you took a bolt with lube, took a bolt with no lube, and then say took a bolt and put, like say, a piece of emery cloth underneath and torqued them all the same, the heads would all end at different points.
Yeah.
Because the underhead friction has affected the reading, not the yield of the bolt. brand new. They're just covered in some like. They put like an anti-seize coating on them, like a weird. 16s again. 16s again, boy. Where do I put them? Yeah, I don't even think we can seal the bottom sump on, mate, because there's 2 bolts that go under it.
Okay. Yeah, I just had a little running one. But we've only got T30s.
Yeah, which are the sump pan bolts on. So I'll have to tell him. But at least it goes back with the bottom end sealed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a T30 I can put in that one, to be fair. So. Sweet! In the words of So Solid Crew, Romeo done!
So, remind me what the engine is out of and what it's for.
A 5 litre Lamborghini for a client in America.
Okay.
Right, so there's the 2 extremities done. We'll torque them up, but that is it, yo. Look at that, what a lovely day out we had in here.
It was a marvellous day.
Didn't go as badly as I thought it was going to. Started it and I was like, I'm miserable today, so I don't know where this is going to go.
It got a bit tense at one point, I've got to say, Carl.
Well, actually, I said I was realistic.
I did decide to stop talking for a
Only I'm
moment.
allowed to be realistic. Otherwise, we get too realistic and then
Yeah.
just turns into misery.
Excellent.
Yes, joys. Thanks for stopping by. What is that out of? Oh, it's Anchorman, isn't it?
Oh.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, you know what I'm going to put in there?
Yeah.
I'm going to punch you in the ovary. That's what I'm going to do. A straight shot.
All the bits are funny in that film. That can be this week's What Should I Put? Tell me your funniest Anchorman lines.
Do it.
So I can lie in bed reading them laughing.
Right.
Anyway,
Thanks for coming.
yeah, thanks for stopping by.
You've made all the difference.
Tell us your Anchorman comments and what I've done wrong building that. If you have noticed that I've forgotten something, let me know. No, it's fine. Can't be any worse than a golf. That's not funny, is it?
It wasn't funny for me, no.
It wasn't funny for me. I paid you to spend your time taking it back apart.
I suppose it made no difference to me. I'd just do it over again and again.
No, hope you've enjoyed it. It always feels quite not mundane, but like, because it's run of the mill, we do it all the time. It always feels like we're just rehashing old ground. But if you enjoyed it, let me know. There's loads more to do.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is quite cool. It's just this, you know, it's like we talk about all the time, don't we? It's just
Yeah.
because they're everywhere, you just kind of go, oh, nobody will want to see that.
Yeah.
So, but somebody enjoyed watching me take a BMW engine apart the other day off a bike. So
Exactly.
must be doing something right, Dabbler.
Yes, mate.
So, again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you
Next.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes, much.